The journey to Jupiter began with hope. For years, scientists believed Europa, one of Jupiter's frozen moons, might hide life under its thick ice. An entire ocean, deeper than all Earth's oceans combined, flowed beneath its frozen shell. If life existed anywhere else in our solar system, it could be there. To find the truth, humanity built the Europa Clipper mission, a powerful spacecraft designed to survive Jupiter's deadly radiation and explore the secrets hidden inside Europa's icy world. The crew was small but highly trained, chosen for their calm minds and strong hearts. They knew they were going where no human had ever gone before. As the spacecraft approached Jupiter, the view was breathtaking. The giant planet filled half the window, swirling storms, red-brown clouds, and the massive great red spot shifting like a living creature. Its moons glowed around it like small lanterns in the dark. But the crew's eyes were fixed on one moon, Europa. Smooth, bright, silent. Europa looked peaceful from a distance, like a perfect white marble floating in space. But everyone on the ship knew the truth. Beneath that calm surface, a dark ocean hid countless mysteries. The Clipper sent its first scans. The results surprised the entire team. Heat pockets, the scientist said, staring at the screen. Under the ice. Warming. Moving. The commander frowned. Moving? Ice can't move on its own. The scientist zoomed in. The heat pattern wasn't random. It looked like lines, curves, shapes, almost like pathways under the ice. Could be water currents, an engineer offered, but the shapes were too perfect, too organized. As they moved closer, the instruments picked up something else, tiny crackles in Europa's magnetic field, short bursts of energy that repeated every few seconds. Not violent, not dangerous, just rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The commander felt a chill. Is a moon alive? No one answered. The closer they got, the stronger the signals became. The ice surface began to glow in patches as sunlight reflected off tiny crystals. Then, for a moment, the glow changed. It pulsed. Astra Clipper recorded everything. The cameras captured a small crack in the ice opening and closing, like something was shifting below. The scientist whispered, "Europa is reacting to us." At the same time, another alert sounded. The probe studying Io, Jupiter's volcanic moon, detected massive eruptions, far larger than expected. 2 moons, 2 warnings, both reacting at the same time. The commander looked out the window toward Europa and murmured, "Something down there's awake." The Europa Clipper team prepared the descent probe, the small, armored machine designed to enter Europa's ice and reach the dark ocean below. It was built with heated drills, strong lights, and sensors that could detect even the smallest movement underwater. The probe was released gently from the main spacecraft. It drifted toward Europa's surface, the icy moon shining like a diamond under Jupiter's light. As the probe reached the ice, its drills activated, melting downward through layer after layer of frozen water. At first, everything looked normal. White ice, blue cracks, silence. But then the camera showed something strange, a faint glow moving inside the ice. The probe slowed, zooming its lens. The glow wasn't from sunlight, and it wasn't from minerals. It moved like a soft wave, bending around the drill path. "Bioluminescence," the scientist whispered. "Life," another asked. For a moment, no one breathed. The glow faded suddenly, as if it had sensed the probe and retreated deeper. The drills pushed on, and after almost an hour, the probe broke through into open water. Darkness swallowed the camera. Pure black. Not a single ray of light existed in Europa's ocean. The probe activated its floodlights, revealing a world that no human had ever seen. Floating ice. Cold waves. Tiny particles drifting like snow. At first, everything seemed empty. But then the drifting particles moved, not randomly, not like dust. They moved in patterns, circular patterns, tight swirls, perfect lines. "Are those currents?" the commander asked. The scientist studied the screen closely. "No, currents don't move like this. It looks like signals." The particles gathered together suddenly, forming a spiral shape in the water. The spiral lasted only a moment before dissolving again. The sonar beeped sharply. "Something big is down there," the engineer said. "Deep, moving slowly." The sonar image appeared, an enormous shape far below the probe. Not a rock, not a mountain. Something smooth, curved, with edges that reflected sound like metal. "Is that a structure?" the commander whispered. The water vibrated. A deep, low hum passed through the probe, shaking the camera. It wasn't a mechanical sound. It felt alive, like a voice speaking through the ocean itself. The glowing particles gathered again. This time they formed straight lines, 3 of them, pointing downward toward the seafloor. "They are guiding us," the scientist said softly. "Something down there wants us to go deeper." But before they could react, the hum changed into a sharp pulse. The water trembled. The giant shape on sonar began rising. Slow, massive, awake. Europa was not just hiding life. It was hiding something ancient. The sonar blip grew larger with every passing second. The mass rising from Europa's ocean floor moved slowly, but with purpose, like something ancient stretching after a long sleep. Inside Clipper, every eye was glued to the vibrating screen. The commander whispered, "Increase clarity on sonar." The image sharpened. A curved shape, smooth, massive. No natural formation had this symmetry. "It's artificial," the scientist said in disbelief. "Something built this long ago." The probe's lights flickered as a new vibration traveled through the water, deep, rhythmic pulses like slow breathing. The entire ocean seemed to respond. Ice fragments danced upward, forming spirals around the rising shape. "This whole moon is alive," an astronaut murmured. "No," the scientist replied softly. "Something inside the ocean is alive." The probe adjusted its depth, sinking deeper as the ocean around it shimmered with strange particles. The glowing specks that moved in patterns earlier returned, now brighter, moving faster, forming shapes with more detail. Circles, triangles, lines pointing toward the seafloor. "They are communicating," the scientist said. "With us, with a structure, maybe with each other." The commander leaned forward. "What are they trying to say?" Before anyone could guess, the pulses changed. Instead of slow, gentle beats, they became faster, urgent. Boom, boom, boom. The rising structure stopped suddenly. The probe's camera zoomed in and revealed more details, tall pillars, arches, and massive walls covered with strange carvings. The carvings looked like they were glowing faintly, waking from thousands of years of darkness. "It's an underwater city," the scientist gasped. "An entire complex." But something was changing. A new vibration, a stronger one, echoed from below the structure, as if something even larger was still waking up. The sonar scanner maxed out, unable to measure the full depth of the signal. "Another layer," the commander said, voice shaking. "Something deeper." The glowing particles suddenly scattered in every direction, as if frightened. "Why are they moving like that?" an astronaut asked. "They are reacting," the scientist replied, "warning us." The pulses grew louder. The water around the probe shook. A distant rumble rolled through the ocean floor. The carvings on the giant structure brightened, shining like golden veins under the ice. Then, without warning, a beam of blue light shot upward from beneath the city. It passed the probe in a single flash, rising straight into the ice ceiling above. The ice cracked for a moment but didn't break. The beam spread into hundreds of smaller sparks, each one carrying the same pulse rhythm. The scientist stayed at the screen. "It's a signal," she whispered. "A message being sent to the surface." The commander swallowed hard. Europa is calling someone. While Europa's dark ocean awakened with signals and ancient structures, another moon of Jupiter stayed, Io, the volcanic world. The Io observation probe, orbiting high above its fiery surface, suddenly detected violent changes. Io was always active, always erupting, always unstable. But what the probe recorded now was impossible. Massive volcanoes erupted at the exact same time, across different regions of the moon. Perfect synchronization, like someone had pressed a hidden button beneath its surface. The scientists monitoring Io gasped. "These eruptions, they are forming a pattern." "What kind of pattern?" the commander asked. She zoomed out the view. From orbit, Io's volcanic plumes looked like glowing dots on a dark canvas. But when connected, they formed shapes, lines, Curves. Symbols. Are these the same symbols from Europa? An astronaut whispered. They were. The same curve lines. The same angle patterns. The same warning shapes marked inside Europa's underwater city. But Io wasn't finished. Seconds later, a gigantic eruption burst from a volcano near Io's equator. The plumes shot hundreds of kilometers upward, glowing bright blue, a color no volcanic eruption should ever produce. The blue plumes stretched into space, twisting slowly, then pointing in one direction, toward Europa. The commander felt cold. Io is signaling the same way Europa did. Before anyone could process this, the Io probe picked up another anomaly, massive magnetic spikes across the moon's surface. Jupiter's huge magnetic field was reacting violently, as if someone tugged at strings. The readings formed a repeating pattern. Pulse. Pause. Pulse. Long pulse. The scientist decoded it quickly, her voice cracking as she spoke. It's the same rhythm as Europa's ocean pulse. The crew realized what was happening. Venus and Mercury had communicated in earlier missions. Now Europa and Io were doing the same. But Io's message wasn't calm. It wasn't gentle. It was urgent. Then Io's biggest volcano, Loki Patera, released a final explosion, a massive ring of lava that glowed red, then orange, then bright white. As the eruption cooled, its shape stayed perfectly intact, carved like a perfect circle on the moon's surface. In the center of that white-hot ring, the lava hardened into a single symbol, one the crew recognized instantly. It was the same symbol pointing toward the sun from the Mercury tunnels. But Io pointed it toward Europa. The scientist whispered, trembling, Io isn't warning us about Europa. The commander finished a sentence. It's warning Europa about something deeper. And suddenly, Europa's ocean pulse changed. Louder. Faster. Afraid. The Europa probe drifted deeper into the dark ocean as if pulled by an invisible force. The glowing particles returned, now brighter than before, surrounding the probe like tiny stars. They moved faster, forming long trails of light that twisted downward, pointing toward the seafloor. They are guiding us, the scientist whispered. They want us to see something. The sonar began to stabilize again. The massive shape detected earlier was now fully visible, stretching across the seafloor like a forgotten city. Pillars rose high into the black water, shaped like towers carved by hands that no longer existed. Enormous arches connected one structure to another. It was beautiful, ancient, and terrifying. As the probe approached the central region, a large circular platform came into view. It was perfect, so smooth it reflected the probe's lights like polished stone. But the real shock came when the camera panned downward. In the center of the platform lay a massive circular door. It wasn't metal. It wasn't ice. It was something in between, glowing faintly with a silver-blue shine. The scientist gasped. It's reacting to us. The door pulsed softly, matching the rhythm of Europa's ocean heartbeat. The glowing particles gathered above the door, forming spirals like a dance. Each spiral dipped lower and lower until it touched the door. Suddenly, the pulse changed. Boom, boom. A deep sound traveled through the water like a drumbeat. The circular door began to rotate. Slowly, heavily, as if waking after thousands of years of silence. The crew leaned closer to their screens. Inside Clipper, the lights flickered, the same moment the door moved. Something beneath the ocean was affecting their ship millions of kilometers away. The door opened halfway, releasing a thick swirl of silver mist into the water. The mist glowed brighter than anything the probe had recorded before. "What's inside?" the commander asked. Then the sonar changed again. From inside the door, a huge chamber appeared, dark, wide, and echoing with energy. The walls of the chamber were lined with symbols that matched Io's volcanic patterns and Europa's glowing particles. But something else moved inside. A faint light. Soft. Alive. The probe's camera zoomed in. Inside the chamber, floating gently in the water, was a massive energy sphere, pulsing like a heart. The scientist froze. This must be the core. A power source. A memory center. The energy sphere pulsed again, sending a shockwave through the probe that echoed across Europa's ocean. Io's eruptions had warned them. Europa had guided them. Now the core was waking, and something inside the chamber was waking with it. The energy sphere inside the underwater chamber pulsed again, brighter and stronger. The glowing particles floating around it rushed inward like tiny sparks being pulled by a magnet. The probe shook as the water vibrated with a deep humming sound, low, heavy, ancient. Inside Clipper, every alarm lit up. Energy spike, the scientist shouted. Something inside the chamber is activating. The commander stepped closer to the screen. Stay focused. Keep the probe steady. The probe floated at the entrance of the chamber. The walls inside were covered with glowing carvings, shapes of moons, spirals, and long curved lines. They looked like a map, a story carved in stone. Suddenly, the humming sound shifted. It became rhythmic, stronger, almost like a voice forming through the water. The glowing energy sphere brightened until it resembled a miniature sun. The ocean around it turned blue with shimmer. Then, a deep voice filled the probe's audio system. Not mechanical, not human, but alive. You have come. The entire room aboard Clipper fell silent. The scientist whispered, "It's speaking through sound waves, through the water." The voice returned, slow, heavy, each word shaped like it traveled across centuries. "We are the guardians of Europa's memory." The probe's camera shook lightly as the energy sphere expanded and contracted like it was breathing. Before you, another civilization lived. On Io, on Europa, on the moons of this giant. Images flashed across the probe screen. Shadows of tall structures, luminous shapes drifting through water, volcanic cities glowing under Jupiter's light. It wasn't video. It was memory. The crew watched, speechless. We built harmony. Fire on Io, water on Europa, power beneath Jupiter's field. The energy sphere dimmed slightly, but darkness came. The sonar shook violently. A second, deeper rumble echoed through the ocean floor. The sphere's blue light turned darker. A force from the void. It devoured light. It consumed our worlds. Io's volcanic eruptions appeared in the memory, massive explosions, like a desperate shield. Io fought with fire. Europa fought with water. We failed. The voice softened, almost like sadness. We left warnings. We left memory, so that one day another would listen. Europa's ocean pulsed again, gentle, like a heartbeat. That day is now. Suddenly, the chamber shook. Currents of water twisted violently. The energy sphere brightened so intensely that the camera nearly went white. The voice echoed once more. We are not alone in this system, and what destroyed us is waking again. The probe shook violently. Europa's ocean roared. Io erupted in the distance with a massive flare detected by sensors. The commander swallowed hard. Something ancient had spoken. Something ancient was returning. The chamber shook with growing force. The energy sphere inside flickered like a dying star, then flared bright again, casting long ghostly shadows across the ancient walls. Each pulse of light seemed to carry meaning, as if the moon itself was trying to speak for the last time. Inside Clipper, the crew stood frozen. They felt the weight of the moment. Europa was not just a moon. It was a vault of memories, a graveyard of a lost civilization, and now a warning beacon. The energy sphere pulsed again, and the deep voice filled the speakers. You must choose. Seal the core or awaken it. The commander frowned. What happens if we awaken it? Europa's ocean rumbled, almost responding with emotion. The voice continued. The core holds the last of our power. Enough to protect the moons, maybe even your world. But if activated, it will call to the void, the same darkness that destroyed us. The scientists swallowed hard. And if we seal it, the memory stays safe, but the darkness will come without warning. The crew exchanged worried glances. Two choices, both dangerous, both final. At that exact moment, the Io probe sent a new alert. Io's volcanoes erupted again, but this time the plumes didn't form symbols. They formed a direction, a sweeping arc, a path, a signal pointing straight toward the sun. The scientists gasped. Io is reacting again. It wants us to see something near the sun. But the voice from the sphere answered before the commander could respond. Yes, the darkness travels star to star. It follows power. It follows memory. We slowed it once with Io's fire, but it returns. A massive tremor shook Europa's ocean. The structures around the chamber groaned like ancient bones shifting after long sleep. Cracks formed in the stone pillars. Glowing particles swirled wildly as if panicking. The core's light brightened until it filled the entire screen. Your species is young, but not weak. Another pulse. Another tremor. Europa's crust above the ocean trembled as thick cracks spread across its ice shell. Take the memory. Take the knowledge. Protect your star. A bright stream of energy burst from the sphere, shooting upward through the chamber, through the ocean, through the ice, straight into space like a cosmic lighthouse. It passed Europa's surface and spread across Jupiter's moons in a wave of blue-white light. The commander whispered, "It's giving us its memory." The voice faded, softer now. "Use it before the void arrives." Then the core dimmed, slowly, quietly. Finally, the chamber collapsed. The probe lost signal. Europa fell silent again. But Astra Clipper now carried something priceless, ancient knowledge, warnings, and a message for all humanity. Io had shouted. Europa had spoken. And something in the darkness was listening.